I recorded about 55 minutes of footage today. Um, the nostalgia video, and then there was also a video on the purge. And something I forgot to mention is that I shaved and remembered because the last video I made, the one where it's like McKnight explaining today's events, although it was like 3 days ago, maybe four. Yeah, it took a long time for me to do it. Like, I'm not talking about how. Right, what had happened was that Aaron said back in, I think, like late April, Dylan, I'm paraphrasing obviously. Dylan, I have never seen you with a beard. Therefore, I believe that you cannot grow a beard. This is not true. Just because you have not seen it does not mean it's not possible. Also, I have had a beard in school before. I did not shave for about a month. Yeah, roughly a month. In the summer of 2019. So I had a beard in the first day of year 11. I then shaved it off. But maybe it's because I hadn't shaved in over 3 months, or just because of how big it was. It was really hard to do. What the first thing I did was that I was going to use electric razor, but I couldn't find it. So I went to use my dad's clippers. Also worked a bit, but not really that good. So I decided to get a pair of scissors and try and trim it down and then do it. Still didn't work. And I was going for a shower anyway, so I hopped in the shower, put on shaving gel, um, or shaving cream, I mean, and I did as best as I could. But there's still a lot there at the side of the neck, and I had a beard kind of like, at that point I had a beard kind of like the guy out of Smash Mouth. He had sort of like he has a very faint line at his chin, and he has a sort of beard coming down there, and it looks really bad, and that's basically what I had. But eventually I shaved it all off as best as I could, with barely any bleeding.
She'll denounce the
Also, it, yeah, I'm never going to grow a beard again, because it's it took a long time for it to be visible at the cheeks, because like the mustache and the neck grew in immediately, basically, and it just stayed the same. It didn't really grow at the lips and neck, but then the cheeks took a long time. Like eventually, like maybe sometime in June, yeah, like after a month, you could see them in real life, but on like videos and all, you can't. But then eventually, not long before I shaved, like really recently, it became more visible. And I was going to show it off at results then all, but I didn't take my mask off. Not out of embarrassment or anything, I just didn't do it.
In the 1950s, Winston Churchill denounced the BBC as a communist organization and pressed for the introduction of commercial television out of spite in order to damage the BBC's viewing figures. A BBC Radio 4 documentary claimed that it had evidence that a radio newsreader inserted the word exactly into a midnight time check one summer night in 1953. Exactly was a code word to the Shah of Iran that Britain supported its plans for a coup. Officially, the BBC has never acknowledged the code word plot and refused to comment on the possible connection.
I'm shutting your butt down.
Any show that is successful on the BBC is immediately copied in the States, and it makes way more money. The Oscar-winning documentary The War Game was dropped from the BBC.
That's because the British prefer quality over quantity. I prefer American television, but I do stand by that. But I mean, really, all you have is House of Cards and The Office. What else? Because yeah, like IT Crowd had a pilot that didn't air. Doctor Who, the movie, was made in 1996. Like, 7 years after the original show ended. Um, and that was sort of a, if it did well in America, they would make an American Doctor Who. The film didn't do well in America, so they didn't.
Program before transmission on the grounds that it was too horrifying to show. The director of the film, John Pilger, has argued that the BBC's power to prevent the truth from being broadcast has made the state broadcaster into a cornerstone of Britain's ruling elite.
Thrill him to the floor. Oh.
Richard Bacon, a host of the children's television show Blue Peter, was fired in 1998 when it was revealed that he was doing cocaine.
Get out.
Right, okay.
Recently, Richard has landed a prestigious primetime television series in the US. He says, "Without the whole Blue Peter thing, I probably would have gone to do some kind of holiday show promoting 2-night stays somewhere." So, he moved up the entertainment food chain by snorting coke. There's a lesson for you. A phone-in conversation held by Blue Peter was revealed to have been rigged. The winning caller in the competition was actually a visitor to the set who pretended to be calling from an outside line to select a prize. The competition was rigged because of a technical problem receiving the calls. The same year, Blue Peter acquired a pet cat and held an internet vote to choose a name for the animal. It was revealed later that the viewers had selected the name Cookie, but the producers had changed the result to Socks instead. In 2011, the BBC broadcasted an episode of its motoring television show Top Gear, during which presenters referred to Mexicans as both lazy and feckless, and Mexican food as refried sick.
Oh.
Now hold on, you're making it sound like that they all said that. Not true. The lazy and feckless part, Richard Hammond said, and the refried sick, James May said. Like, Jeremy Clarkson was laughing and agreeing with it, but he never actually said any of that. I actually seen that clip today because of that bit where he goes like, if you're watching in Saudi Arabia, ha! Like, that just suddenly popped in my head, like maybe yesterday, and I wanted to watch it, and I did, and I got bombarded with recommendations. One of them was like all the offensive bits in Top Gear, and that was one of them. I think that's actually the reason why they got kicked out of Top Gear.
Richard Hammond, one of the presenters, expressed doubt that there would be any complaints against them, as the Mexican ambassador would probably be asleep.
What?
Also said that, yep.
Oh, man, what time is it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were a wax sculpture.
No, man, I'm the janitor. I'm supposed to be cleaning, but I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so sleepy.
The BBC News website featured a story claiming that a dog had been sentenced to death by stoning by an Israeli court. It later came out that the story was untrue and had come from an Israeli newspaper as a hoax story. Great reporting. In 2008, they aired a documentary claiming that Bangalore-based suppliers of Primark, a hugely successful retailer with 220 stores across Europe, were using child labor in their production.
So what are these children doing, beading nightwear in a refugee camp?
It turns out that this claim was not only untrue, but they had also used staged footage of children working in factories.
Oh, shit!
And they also used a photograph taken in Iraq in 2003 to illustrate a massacre, which was reported as having taken place in Syria in 2012. Through BBC's Newsnight, false child abuse rumors were spread about politician Lord McAlpine. This resulted in the resignation of its Director General George Entwistle, who, for some reason, was paid over 1.3 million euros as his severance package. So he got paid someone's lifetime salary for making a mistake.
Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang.
In a 2007 interview with English screenwriter Jimmy McGovern, he called the BBC one of the most racist institutions in England.
Hey, you're that black guy I saw in the news conference, ain't you? I've got a stolen vehicle here. But this is my car. Suspect's getting belligerent. What? Officer down.
The University of Leeds conducted a study in March of 2006 which accused the BBC of being institutionally homophobic towards the lesbian and gay community.
This plane's going to Miami.
The Leeds researchers found that 80% of portrayals by the BBC of those who were lesbian or gay were negative and accounted for just 0.4% of the output.
I don't have any comments on the BBC being racist or homophobic. I do watch quite a bit of BBC programs, but I just don't have a comment. There are some, like, the only gay character I can think of in a BBC program is the black girl in Doctor Who, like Peter Capaldi's last companion. Um, and she was terrible. Like, the season 10 of the show just sucked. It had nothing to do with her being gay. If she was straight, it still would have sucked.
Pure beef.
Very good. Here's a cheeseburger for you. Hey, who's next? Susie. All set?
Here, we have Ronald McDonald paying small children with burgers to let him take pictures of them. If that isn't a good way to start this episode, I don't know what is.
Slap-happy hamburglar, a slap-happy mayor, and a slap-happy grimace.
Great face.
Quite a fancy outfit. After breakfast, I'm going skin diving.
Oh, skin diving. So that's what they're calling it these days.
I hereby proclaim breakfast at participating McDonald's every weekend.
Yay! Chanted the hundreds of thousands of Americans that have died from obesity since this commercial aired.
Celebrate the holiday with McDonald's red, white, and blueberry shakes. They're American as McDonald's hamburgers.
So if you don't like blueberries, milkshakes, or McDonald's, you aren't American.
My trick-or-treat safety cups. They reflect light.
I don't think they're saying that. Like, I would say that McDonald's has become a big part of American culture. So to say you don't like McDonald's wouldn't, from like that being said, if you were to not like McDonald's, I wouldn't really say that you aren't American.
Hey, where'd you get 'em?
Right at McDonald's.
Free advertising disguised as child protection. Stranger danger! Stranger danger! McDonald's teaching children accurate botany facts since 1940. Yeah, there's a name for that something. It's called MSG. These people need to be careful how many times they're eating there. Have they seen Super Size Me? Their inability to stop moving might have been caused by the copious amounts of sugar that they just consumed from being inside a McDonald's.
You make it sound like just entering McDonald's automatically makes you fat.
Photos.
When you buy a McDonald's Happy Meal, each set builds one of these 4 toys.
Damn! 4 whole Legos! What a steal! Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the toys did used to be so much better. McDonald's is the largest distributor of toys in the world through their Happy Meals. So how did they go from Legos and Playmobiles to non-functioning pedometers and, well, those? They dragged poor Turbo into this, didn't they? That food isn't disappearing. You are hallucinating, most likely from the sugar buzz. Discount Alvin and the Chipmunks. This was a series of ads created in Japan.
Right, this freaked me out. When was this video released? ...2015. Early 2015, I'm going to assume I watched it in summer or late 2015. Look at that girl's feet. This is a Japanese ad, the girl is obviously Asian. And because of that, I thought that all Asian people, or at least all Asian women, have feet like that. But still, what is up with that?
And to promote McDonald's new 24/7 service hours. When translated, this means there at all times, McDonald's. Knowing that still doesn't make me want to punch that creepy motherfucker any less. Why isn't this the American mascot of McDonald's? Who would you rather buy burgers from? A Taylor Swift impersonator or a creepy ass?
I would have said a Haley Williams impersonator.
Wow. Also, discount Taylor Swift.
Yeah, so here's the video. It's only about the masturbating kids.
Before we let you shovel cardboard covered in sugar down your throat for breakfast, let's talk about the dark history that is Kellogg's. Around the turn of the century, John Harvey Kellogg, inventor of Kellogg's, realized too many kids were chopping the morning wood. His solution to that problem was breakfast cereal.
Oh, sweet Jesus, God bless the little people.
He thought that meat and overly flavorful foods increased sexual desire, and that plainer foods, especially cereal and nuts, could curb it, i.e. how Frosted Flakes came about to keep your dick from frosting anything. Now,
I don't understand that. So apparently eating meat causes you to beat your meat.
Now, John was a fairly strange dude. He never consummated his marriage, and he and
I don't know what that means.
his wife slept in separate bedrooms like a sitcom from the 1950s.
Okay, so I'm also seeing this video in early 2015 because the very first Netflix original series I watched was Daredevil when it initially came out, and like, you know, it's a Netflix original. All the episodes came out in the same day. And I thought, oh, it's like a sitcom, because what I'll do is I'll learn words. I'll learn of the words and won't actually learn what their definitions are. So, okay. Oh, I want to use that to demonstrate my knowledge. I still do that. Sometimes I just try and sort of stop myself from doing it now. But I remember saying, like, oh, all the episodes released at once. It's like a sitcom.
Kellogg wrote a book in which 39 symptoms of someone plagued by masturbation were laid out. These included mood swings, bashfulness, boldness, bad posture, still joints, fondness for spicy things, acne, palpitations, and epilepsy. For boys,
Most of those are basically just, like, puberty. Like, yeah, puberty is the point where you start to become more sexual, I guess, where you learn about sex and all that, but it's just hormones.
he suggested threading silver wire through the foreskin to prevent erections and cause irritation. For girls, he advocated and sometimes employed an application of carbolic acid to the clitoris to burn and discourage touching it. He thought burning off your f***ing clitoris was a good idea. Kellogg formulated 3 different healthy eating ideas, 2 of which are breakfast staples today. The first is what we know as granola. The second is the slightly less popular yogurt enema. So while he was so adamantly against sex, he was all for shooting a gooey right product up your butt. William Kellogg, John Kellogg's brother, began adding sugar to the cereal and focusing on commercial and financial objectives rather than on healthy or religious benefits. The brothers parted ways, and Kellogg's Corn Flakes, as we know it now, was born. Kellogg's has all natural and nothing artificial printed on the boxes, which may be stretching the truth. A better disclaimer here would be, it's actually edible.
Man, all I want to do is eat. What does he want me to say?
Aaron Paul would go on to have an illustrious acting career, which included reenacting this exact scene several times. In November of 2013, Kellogg's tweeted, 1 retweet equals 1 breakfast for a vulnerable child. Or in other words, if you don't retweet this, a needy child will go hungry. Kellogg
Like, most sort of corporations do that. Like, you ever see, like, people posting on Instagram, like this post to end racism, or something like that.
has a track record of strange television ads, including the racist stereotype.
Today, so I have exciting story to tell.
The never sleep again.
Breakfast. Take it from Carrickles. That's me. It's so good. I crinkle every time I eat it. Honey and sugar make it different and wonderful.
And finally, the I belong in a mental institution.
By the way, I feel great. You're hot and I feel great.
Babies everywhere.
In 1988, Sony and Nintendo were working together to create a CD-ROM attachment for the Super Nintendo console. In 1991, Sony used a modified version of the Super Disc CD developed with Nintendo to release the PlayStation console, which included the ability to play Nintendo cartridges and CDs. Only about 200 models were sold. In 1994, the PlayStation as we know it today was released, and all its subsequent rebirths began. PS1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 2 Slimline, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 3 Slim Model, PlayStation 3 Super Slim Model, PlayStation 4, PlayStation Portable 2000, PlayStation Portable 3000, PSP Go, PSP 1000, and the PlayStation Vita.
There's too many of them.
This video was released in 2015. Why didn't you mention the PS4? Oh, dumbass, you did. Also, it'd be fine if they were all re-releases of the PS1, like the one PS1. But, like, the PS2 is different.
As they grew, PlayStation developed a reputation for absolutely terrible customer service.
Welcome to Marathon. May I help you?
On customerservicescoreboard.com, they have an overall score of 37 out of 200. The PlayStation 4 does not feature backwards compatibility, so that means if you want to play your copy of Tony Hawk Underground, Star Wars Battlefront, or Final Fantasy VII, you can go f*** yourself. In 2007, Sony threw a launch party for their newly released PlayStation 2 game, God of War 2. At said party, they had a decapitated goat as the centerpiece and topless women feeding partygoers grapes.
Giggity.
The game
That's because stuff like that happens in the game.
Zero Kill was fully developed for PlayStation before being cancelled in 1998. It featured characters in BDSM costumes killing each other in the style of Mortal Kombat. Some of the finishing moves in this game had names like Swallow This or Slap, and as strange as those things are, that is not why we're sending it. We are sending it because of this. This is an ad from the European division of Sony promoting the PS Vita.
I know you've already done it today, and I bet you really enjoyed yourself. How many times did you do it yesterday?
I don't know why, I feel like I've seen something like this before. If the internet
Sex sells, that's really all there is to it.
connection drops for even a second while a PS4 is being used, the game will immediately end. While at the same time, they're moving toward more and more games being strictly online. The new PlayStation 4 exclusive show Powered is apparently pretty decent, but it's distributed terribly. There isn't even a full list of episodes for the show on the streaming page.
Pars, not to be confused with the show Par, is basically just a rip-off the show Heroes. I have not seen Pars, but they gave away, like, without even letting me know, they put the entire second season on my PS Vita. That's all there really is to say about it.
In April 2011, there was a security breach that affected 70 million PSN accounts. The breach exposed names, phone numbers, and credit card information. Hey there, identity theft.
You. The imagination of a brilliant child and the powers of an ancient god.
Imagination of a child? Yeah. Powers of an ancient god? Not so much.
Who are you to be afraid? You who can serve as judge and jury while hoarding infinite lives.
The entire message of this is pretty f***ing horrifying. Why? Great job on the half-assed April Fool's video, PlayStation. April Fool's was actually on April 1st this year. Just letting you know.
It's gonna be because of time zones.
Marvel Worldwide Incorporated is an American publisher of comic books and comic-related media. In Avengers Volume 1, the character Miss Marvel gives birth to a child named Marcus who instantly grows up. He then goes back in time and rapes Miss Marvel, impregnating his mother with his future self. Here's a fun fact to start the video with. The theme of family member on family member sex continued when Marvel
I thought Miss Marvel was created in 2013 after feminists complained that there wasn't any Muslim superheroes. Like, that, or maybe just Miss Marvel is a sort of reboot, same way that Batwoman was created in 1967, and then never used again until people were complaining that there weren't enough lesbian superheroes, and decided, oh, let's bring her back. Just so you know, Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel are not the same thing. Captain Marvel is Captain Marvel. Miss Marvel currently is a Muslim superhero. She was only created because they needed a Muslim superhero. But anyway, she is basically just Mr. Fantastic. I say basically, she is Mr. Fantastic. Their powers are exactly the same. There will be a movie coming out. I don't know if it's a separate movie from the Marvels, because I know that the Marvels was going to be Captain Marvel 2, but now I guess it's sort of Miss Marvel training Captain Marvel, because Miss Marvel is a big fan of Captain Marvel. That's why she called herself Miss Marvel.
Needed an alternate reality reboot for their characters called the Ultimate Universe. In this universe, some interesting things happen, such as the superpowered twins, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, being involved in twincest. The worst part about it, their father, Wolverine, watches them bang from behind some bushes. There is also a story arc in this universe where a sex tape of Iron Man and Black Widow is leaked, or as I like to call it, Kevin Smith's dream porno. In 2010, Marvel extended an unusual proposal to comic book store owners. If they would tear the covers off of 50 books from the DC Comics series Blackest Night, they would receive a super secret, exclusive copy of their newest book, Siege. That would be like Burger King bribing Ronald McDonald with chicken fries to take out a McDonald's. Jack Kirby, the co-creator of X-Men, the Hulk, Captain America, and the Fantastic Four, was treated terribly by Marvel. He owned almost no rights to the characters he created, and when he tried to recover some of his original artwork, he was told by Marvel they had tossed it out, only to later discover they were selling it for a huge profit and giving none of the proceeds to him. In the next 4 years, 16 movies starring Marvel characters will be playing in a theater near you. 16 fucking movies!
This was 2015. This was not long. This was right before Ant-Man came out and Avengers Age of Ultron, so it's only when they started to pick up steam. Now that I don't think 16 movies came out by 2019. So let's say you have Ant-Man, Avengers 2, Captain America Civil War, Doctor Strange, what do you call it? Guardians 2, Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm going to try and do this in order. Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Ant-Man 2, Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, and Spider-Man Far From Home. 13 movies.
Marvel has created some of the most financially successful films of all time, but that wasn't always the case. They have had many, let's just say, lower budget films in the past, such as Generation X.
Let go, mami. Oye, mami, let go. Déjame, muchacha. Ya vida, suéltame. Let go.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, Doc, I got the ulcers again. And I've been drinking milk like they told me to.
The Death of the Incredible Hulk. The Amazing Spider-Man.
The most popular, most daring, most exciting superhero in the entire world.
The Fantastic Four. And Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. starring the Hoff himself. Marvel also apparently has an obsession with making films about Steve Rogers. Captain America, Captain America, Captain America 2 Death Too Soon, Captain America, Captain America the First Avenger, Captain America the Winter Soldier, and if you include Captain America Civil War, that is 7 films based around the exact same character. Can you imagine if...
They're going to be different plots. Like, especially First Avenger, Civil War, and Winter Soldier. because it's the same universe. The first film didn't work out, so they waited a bit and rebooted it. It worked out better, I guess, and it was able to get a sequel. Then, like 30 years later, they made... Sorry, my water just fell. They made another one, not good. And then about 20 years later, they made First Avenger, and it was fantastic.
Any other studios tried to do that, it would never happen. And
Yeah, but if you're going to count them as... Never mind.
finally, here are some of the worst characters created by Marvel. Paste Pot Pete, a guy who uses his bucket of special glue to commit crimes. Dr. Bong, who can evolve animals into semi-humanoid animals. Blue Streak, one of Captain America's enemies, wears roller skates that allow him to travel at speeds of at least 125 miles per hour. Ruby Thursday, who can transform her head into any shape she pleases. Hell Cow, a cow that was bitten by Dracula, thus turning him into a vampire cow. Lastly, Asbestos Lady, a woman who wears an asbestos suit. Yeah, that's it. She dies from cancer.
That Hellcow thing, I think that was just them sort of making a parody of Hellboy. Because Deadpool is a parody of Deathstroke. Deathstroke's real name is Slade Wilson. Deadpool's real name is Wade Wilson. Also, Slade uses 2 katanas as his main weapon. Deadpool uses 2 katanas as his main weapon. Also, none of you have seen it by now, but the Suicide Squad, there's a character in it called Polka Dot Man. Well, apparently James Gunn googled worst DC supervillain or superhero, and Polka Dot Man came up, and that's why he's in the film.
In 2007, the Center of Science and Public Interest claimed that Burger King knowingly put their customers' health at risk. They demanded that Burger King stop using trans fats or provide warning labels highlighting its risk. Burger King eventually complied, but only because they were caught red-handed. In June 2013, when a customer sent back cold onion rings and asked for a refund, the Burger King manager attacked him with a taser and a switchblade. Prior to the request for a refund, that same manager spoke in Spanish to the customer, not knowing the customer spoke fluent Spanish, saying, "This white boy is mad about his food, and he doesn't even know that I'm going to return it and do whatever I want to it. He'll still eat it, and he'll never have any idea what I did to his food." In northern Arizona, a customer ordered a salad for lunch and found a razor blade in her bed of lettuce. According to a class action lawsuit, Burger King classified coaches and trainees as exempt employees, with no supervisory or administrative responsibilities, thus exempting Burger King from paying overtime, despite the fact that new hires in the corporate leadership development program report working 13 plus hours a day, 4 days a week during training. Math says that's an average of 52 hours a week.
Oh, I told him not to honk.
Where are you headed?
Just out.
I wonder how much chicken poop was in that dollhouse after the shoot. In Japan, they have a black cheeseburger made with squid ink sauce. Yummy. Burger King slogan, "Have it your way," encourage dickweed customers, well, to have it their way.
2 Whoppers, 2 Whopper Juniors, and 4 Coca-Cola. And would I have to wait long if you made 1 Whopper with no pickle and no lettuce?
Could I have the other Whopper with extra ketchup? Sure.
Now, she left out the part where they likely rubbed meat patties on their genitals in the back. They also encourage people to eat like snake.
Unhinge your jaw.
Remember this guy?
Yes, it is.
Magic Burger King!
Well, he got a reboot in the early 2000s and got even creepier. In this ad, they openly admit stealing the McMuffin recipe for their own BK muffin sandwich.
It's not that original, but it's super affordable. Egg, sausage, and melted cheese on a toasted English muffin.
Can I get one of those?
I actually really like that because 1, they're being honest. 2, like, the reason why our products and all are so good is because companies outdo each other. Like, Burger King had to outdo McDonald's. And instead of coming up with something original, that has stole the recipe for the egg sausage McMuffin or whatever, and made it cheaper.
New strawberry and banana smoothies. No problem, John. Notice how he didn't consume the product? And they got a smorgasbord of other pop culture celebrities to not eat their food as well, such as Ben Affleck, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Mary J. Blige, Transformers, The Simpsons, Salma Hayek, The Backstreet Boys, Chris Webber, Steven Tyler, Sofia Vergara, Scooby-Doo, and the Hulk. And because you guys have made it very clear in every other video we've made involving food, because it's not totally obvious, it makes you fat.
Let's go, Jake McCartney.
Nintendo was originally founded as a card company in 1889, developing playing cards of a popular Japanese game. In 1963, the Nintendo Playing Card Company became the Nintendo Company, and proceeded to blow the wad by setting up companies destined to fail, like a taxi company, a love hotel chain, a TV network, and a food company selling instant rice. In 1966, Nintendo moved into the Japanese toy industry. One of their first electronic toys was called the Love Tester. After selling Magnavox Odysseys for 3 years, Nintendo developed their own hardware and released their first consoles exclusively in Japan, called Color TV Game. That's creative. Donkey Kong was the game released in 1981 that skyrocketed Nintendo into a huge profit boost. But the guy that won the title of Nintendo mascot was some guy originally called Jumpman? In 1983, the Famicom consoles known as NES were released on the world and their ever-growing variations began. Super Nintendo, NES 101, Virtual Boy, Nintendo 64, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Micro, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, Game Boy Advance SP, Nintendo DS, Nintendo Wii, Nintendo Wii U, Nintendo 3DS.
Oh my god.
And let's not forget about the SNES CD, co-developed with Sony under the name PlayStation. Yep, Nintendo helped develop their ultimate rival by claiming cartridge games were superior. Nintendo owns the rights to many franchises, including Pokemon, The Legend of Zelda, Super Mario, Donkey Kong, Star Fox, Metroid, and many more. On the Nintendo DS game WarioWare Touched, well, just the name of that is singable enough. Players were given the option to speed up and slow down songs playing on a record player. When the track Ashley's song was sped up, many of the lyrics were skipped over and the distorted singing can be misheard as, I have granted kids to hell. After the release of Super Mario 3D, PETA made a website.
I hate the fact that people like speed up songs, slow down songs, for songs, etc. trying to find hidden messages, because Gorillaz, you can sort of hear a bunch of hidden stuff in there. In their songs like White Light, White Light, you play it reverse, sounds like you're saying God help me. There was another one, I don't remember which one it was, but you play it backwards, sounds like you're saying this being played in reverse, and a couple of others.
Demonizing Nintendo called Mario Kills Tanuki. The site implied that Super Mario 3D Land was promoting the use of animal furs as clothing by allowing Mario to use the skin of a tanuki, a Japanese raccoon dog, as a power-up. When Mario Party 8 was released in 2007 in the UK, it had to immediately be recalled. Nintendo released a statement saying that several of the games contained the wrong version of the disc due to an assembly error. But the European retailer Game confirmed that the game was withdrawn because of an offensive line that was used during one of the spells cast by Carmack. The line was, Magic Koopa Magic, turn the train spastic, make this ticket tragic. Spastic is considered the second most offensive word regarding disability in the UK according to a 2003 poll. Nintendo hired a programming...
They couldn't have known that. See, I made that in an Adventure Time game, like Princess Bubblegum or whatever calls someone a tart, which apparently is a UK slur for a prostitute.
company to code the arcade version of Donkey Kong and signed a deal with them giving them exclusive rights to create Donkey Kong arcade boards. In 1983, that same company sued Nintendo on the grounds that they had broken the contract and produced over 80,000 arcade boards on their own. They also claimed that Nintendo had reverse engineered their code from Donkey Kong and used it in Donkey Kong Jr. There were only minor differences between the two games, such as the change of the colors in the girders from red to purple and the inclusion of fewer falling barrels in the opening scene. Before
I've played Donkey Kong Jr. It is quite different because instead of like sort of going up and jumping, you're sort of climbing up vines. You know, you're not Jumpman, you're Monkey Man, basically.
the 10th installment in the Zelda series, The Wind Walker, was released, a demo video with advanced
Wind Waker. Wind Waker.
graphics premiered at the Nintendo Space World 2000. When the game did come out and had subpar graphics, it was met with severe backlash. Nintendo likes to f with people's brains by making several of their characters male in some games and female in others, such as Sheik and Birdetta. One of Nintendo's properties, Pokemon, is a game where you travel around the world capturing rare animals and shoving them into your balls. The Pokemon Jinx was highly controversial due to its resemblance to characters from the Little Black Sambo. Critics insisted that the species enforced a negative stereotype against African Americans.
Basically, Jinx looks like blackface.
One episode of the Pokemon show was removed from television after it caused seizures and put over 600 Japanese children in the hospital, some of which had no history of seizures whatsoever. At the time of this controversy, Pokemon was called Pocket Monsters, but the owners quickly changed the name of the brand so they could slip their seizure-inducing cartoon past fearful parents. The species of Pokemon that has been voted the worst of all time by the gaming public is called the Love Disc. It's a flat fish-like creature with a body in the shape of a heart. If two Love Discs kiss, they're able to use their bodies as wings to fly for a short period of time.
Well, there's over 700 Pokemon. You know, obviously they're gonna have to create some bad ones in order to fill their, I guess they have like a sort of quota for creating new Pokemon.
Also a Pokemon named Trubbish, who is literally a bag of trash. Now, most of you probably know Mario as the mustache-rocking, princess-saving plumber hero he is portrayed as in his games. But what you might not know is that he has a dark side. In the game Donkey Kong Jr., Mario kidnaps Donkey Kong and tries to kill his son, Donkey Kong Jr., when he tries to save him. And that's not even some weird fan theory. That's literally the point of the game. Just look at this old television ad for it.
I got Donkey Kong, and now I'll get you too, Junior. Save your papa, huh? Save yourself first. He's chasing me with snapping jaws, and I could fall.
Now that's f***ed up, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, yeah, the repurposed Mario / Jumpman. Same way that, what's it, Maximum Ride? Fantastic children's book series. It's based off 2 books by the same author that had the same characters, but they're like raped and stuff.
That motherfucking piece of shit dog that laughs at you when you miss the dock. Waluigi, or in other words, discount Robbie Run. Wii remotes.
Come on. Ooh. And what am I? Oh!
Right, some of the problem is you didn't put the strap on.
Nintendo trying to get gamers to be more active with Wii Sports. But the only sport anyone ever plays is bowling, the game you could play in real life while eating greasy-ass pizza and drinking beer. Baby steps. Vine is a short-form video sharing service founded in June of 2012. Now let's start by getting the most obvious one out of the way first. Vines are only 6.5 seconds long. If that isn't a perfect example of how long people's attention spans are these days, then Vine has a loophole that allows people with verified Twitter accounts to create verified Vine accounts with different usernames, so they get to cheat the system. This prompted one person to create a fake yet verified Beyonce account that racked up over 40,000 followers from one video. Like many other entertainment platforms, YouTube, originality isn't something that's highly valued. Although there are people doing some unique things, the easiest way to make it to the popular page is to say something relatable to high schoolers and follow with a clip of some pop culture icon's reaction, preferably Kevin Hart.
When someone's going on and on about something you didn't do, and you want to make them feel stupid,
Are you done? Are you done? You're done, right?
Curtis Lepore, a massive Viner with over 7 million followers, was accused of raping his ex-girlfriend Jessie in January of 2014. Although he pled guilty to felony assault, he still has a massive following and millions of teenage girls that support him. Nash Greer, an arrogant 17-year-old douchebag Vine star, made a video telling girls what guys look for in them.
Entertain me.
He also made this.
Testing for HIV? It's not a gay thing.
Yes, it is! Bag! The term "do it for the Vine" has never been followed by anything positive. Ever.
Do it for the Vine. Do it for the Vine.
Vine had to change their rating from 12 plus to 17 plus after enough people started uploading porn clips to the platform. I know, people watching porn on the internet. Crazy, right? After a porn clip featuring dubstep was promoted to the editor's pick page, the Vine staff blocked searches like porn, booty, and boobs. Also, 6-second porn clips is not really enough for anyone.
Oh, there was a ghost. This ectoplasm. Did you see the ghost? It ran through here and slimed me. Oh, that wasn't me. That was a spooky ghost.
The relatively unknown ratchet hip-hop song "Don't Drop That Dun-Da-Dun"
Don't drop that dun-da-dun. Hey, don't drop that dun-da-dun.
Girls uploaded a Vine of them twerking to it. This terrible song was so big it became a meme, thus prompting many people to use Vine to leech off of its success, such as...
Don't drop that dirk, hey.
Don't drop that. Don't drop that. Don't drop that.
Bobby Shmurda, a rapper from Brooklyn, blew up and received a record deal after making a Vine that went viral. He is currently in prison for multiple counts of conspiracy, weapons possession, reckless endangerment, and criminal use of drug paraphernalia with a $2 million bail. In 2013, a Vine was sold at the Moving Image Art Fair in New York City to a Dutch art advisor. It was the first Vine to ever be sold as art and is titled Tits on IKEA. One of the largest genres of
Seems like an early version of an NFT.
videos on Vine are 6-second songs. Now there are some pretty interesting ones on here. Believe me.
On the 3rd of December, you can suck my dick. I don't have a dick, but your dick, so you can suck it.
And finally, if you have no musical talent whatsoever, you can just lip sync to popular songs. You'll have just as many adoring fans as though you were singing the songs yourself.
I dream chase like an athlete, and I begin super hyphy in the function.
Mainly because they're good looking. Also, that's just TikTok.
DC Comics is an American comic book publisher responsible for the characters of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, The Flash, Aquaman, and thousands more. In 1992, DC published a book titled The Death of Superman, wherein Superman is beaten to death by a character named Doomsday. Although this did anger many fans, they were even angrier when he was brought back to life only a year later, cementing the theory that it was only a publicity stunt. The DC...
There's a very good video on the internet. I don't remember what it's called, but it's by a guy called Max Landis talking about how the Superman at that point was on for over 50 years and people got bored of him because he's basically immortal, right? So we're like, oh, let's kill him because people start reading Superman again. And then they brought him back. It's been adapted a couple times. But then Max ended up creating a Superman comic called American Alien, which is fantastic.
Writers wrote a character named Jason Todd, who was Robin's replacement when he joined the Teen Titans. Jason was so annoying that the writers had fans calling them up asking them to kill him. So they responded by having the Joker beat Jason to a pulp with a crowbar before leaving him to die in an explosion. Even Frank Miller, the man who wrote a comic where a guy is beaten to death and has his dick ripped off, called it the ugliest and most cynical thing he had seen in comics.
I do not remember that scene in Sin City. I must have watched a bad copy of it because I do not remember that scene. I do remember that I can't say his name because there's swearing his name, but he was in the film. I just don't remember his penis getting ripped off.
We all know the sole creator of Batman to be Bob Kane, since his name is plastered on anything remotely connected to the Dark Knight universe. Unfortunately, that couldn't be further from the truth. Writer Bill Finger is actually the one who came up with the character's early stories, created the Joker and Robin, invented the Batcave, and the Batmobile. So yeah, pretty much everything essential to the Batman universe. Although DC can compete with Marvel when it comes to the quality of their comics, they aren't even close to Marvel's large catalog of quality films. They have created some exceptional flops, such as Catwoman, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin.
After all, she's family.
Stamp Day for Superman.
No, I don't believe it.
Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
I'd like all the people back there to know that our subway system is still the safest and most reliable means of public transportation.
Steel, starring Shaquille O'Neal. Supergirl.
Games, eh, sweetheart?
The girl playing Supergirl there is Helen Slater, who would later end up playing Supergirl's mum in the Supergirl show. She's not related to Kristen Slater.
And of course, Green Lantern.
That was also the night, the first time that we ever flew together.
Well, you've been flying ever since with anyone who'll get in a plane.
Also, they hired...
See, if you move the MCU, then the amount of good films from DC is roughly the same as the amount of good films from Marvel. Because for DC, you have Superman 2. I know people didn't like Superman Returns, but I'm going to count it because I thought it was pretty good. Man of Steel, the Dark Knight trilogy, Batman 1989. I've watched it years ago, but don't remember what I think of it. But people generally liked it. Batman Returns, and I think that's it. There's 9 films, right? This came out in 2015, so there, for Marvel, there's what? Spider-Man 2, X-Men 2, X-Men First Class, X-Men Days of Future Past. I think that's it. It's 6 films.
Ryan Reynolds to play Green Lantern, even though he previously played Deadpool in the god-awful Marvel film X-Men Origins Wolverine. And they wonder why it made a profit of less than 10%. And he...
Well, you know what? He's not Deadpool, so...
Here are some of the worst characters created by DC. Matter Eater Lad, who has the ability to eat anything. Bouncing Boy, who can blow himself up into an agile beach ball-shaped person. Stone Boy, a guy with the ability to turn into an immobile statue. Doll Man, he can shrink down to the size of a doll.
That... Well, I mean... That sounds like the Atom. That sounds like Ant-Man. This wasn't long before Ant-Man came out. Ant-Man probably was out by the time that this video was released. But, I mean, they have the Atom, which basically does the same thing.
Danny the Street. He's literally a street. That's pretty much it. And finally, Arm Fall Off Boy. His arm falls off.
I thought Polka Dot Man would have been here. Screw it, I'll continue in the next video.